You live in the past by mere seconds. But me, I lived in the past for years, while betrayal happened right behind my back. The end of my story shatters all illusions. The apartment was too tidy, not like after a normal night, not like after a fight. The silence was crafted like a set piece. I sensed it the moment I closed the door behind me. Jacob Reeves worked in Seattle S-Port logistics. Habits of someone who constantly checks supply chains ran deep in him, tracking what arrived, what left, and what didn't he add up. He wasn't a jealous man, he simply hated inconsistencies. At the entrance lay 2 pairs of shoes, his in place, hers exactly where expected. Yet, the rug was shifted 3 centimeters to the right on it. An unfamiliar sole print remained larger, dress shoes, nearly smooth with sporadic grooves, unlike his sporty sneakers. In the kitchen, a mug sat waiting, not his favorite, nor hers, a gift cup from some fund's logo. It was clean. But when held under the extractor light, a faint lipstick mark remained on the bottom, forgotten in haste by someone who rushed out. Didn't he enter the bedroom? That would have been the easiest, most human move. Instead, he turned silently and left like he came in on the stairwell. He caught himself noticing his own breathing too, even for someone who just saw a foreign presence. In the elevator, he pulled out his phone and opened a bike theft camera APD installed a year ago, joking about being paranoid after a neighbor's lock was cut. The camera faced the stairwell, still working. It caught everything. Scrolling backward, normal footage showed Lauren returning with groceries, going for a run, coming back. Then a pause. Then the frame that scorched all warmth inside, Lauren climbing the stairs with a man, not a neighbor, not a delivery man, nor a repairman. He carried no packages, just empty hands, like he belonged there. The camera had no sound, but he saw Lauren's smile short, like a flash. She hadn't smiled like that at him in years. He turned off the phone not because he couldn't bear it, but because he realized he had seen enough, no more excuses to find. He sat in his car, not heading home or to friends, but to the docks at night. Everything moves by strict rules, loading, control, schedules. There he could think. The world felt predictable there, easier to contain his shattered calm. On the empty waterfront lot, he sat frozen for 10 minutes before doing what he always did when things broke down, gathering facts. The man arrived alone, meaning agreement, not chance. Lauren knew Jacob would be late. She was calm. She had done this before. The facts didn't bring pain, only clarity. The pain came later, like the cold when the heating shuts off. And only after an hour do you realize you refreezing. He replayed the video, froze the man's face. Well-groomed, expensive haircut, flashy watch. Badge on jacket, no average office guy. Jacob screenshot the frames over and over. He didn't know why exactly, only that he need this. Then, instead of returning home, he went to a 24-hour Capitol Hill supermarket, bought water, coffee, gum, a cheap notebook, and a pen, keeping the receipt carefully as evidence. Next stop was a bar near Pike Place where colleagues sometimes saw him. He paid with card, leaving a visible trail, pretended to read news on a dark phone screen, glancing at the ceiling camera, 30 tense minutes passing like hours. Then gas station, fueled up, grabbed receipt again, deliberate traces. Crossing the bridge to Bellevue, he stopped at a motel where questions were few, checked in, got security footage, smiling register shots, went straight to the room without shedding shoes, sat still, staring at the wall, wide awake despite the dead night. Sleep escaped him. His mind compiled a new list, not facts, but actions if he stormed home with fury. The drama would be simple and dirty: police, screams, neighbors, divorce. The man would vanish clean. He needed a flaw in the stranger's life, one irreversible flaw. Morning brought routine, greeting the guard, checking manifests, but inside everything shifted at the port. Cameras were everywhere with system access. He could see more than he should, using indirect searches through contractor photos, visitor logs, temporary permits. He hacked the name Ethan Wells, the man in the footage. Within hours, he found Ethan's workplace and role, board member of a charity dealing with city initiatives and public events. The charity's office was downtown Seattle, frequented by wealthy sponsors driving flashy cars, smiling like Ethan on that staircase. He didn't stalk or chase. Instead, he found their weak spot, which was almost always the same: reputation, money, and the comfort of control. He found the charity's event calendar, noting a Friday night private meeting at a lakeside club. Closed events meant loose tongues and fewer eyes. Jacob plotted the second half of the chain. He needed Ethan somewhere vulnerable, alone, confident of safety, an attack in broad daylight, too risky with cameras and witnesses. The plan required subtlety, make it look like a clumsy job or accident no one wanted chased too far. Ethan left the club past midnight, typically avoiding main exits, stepping where his driver awaited or where he could vanish fast. Jacob found a side road with few lights, cameras only at the entrance, next to a gated path by the water perfect for what he planned. Acting like a tourist, he explored the area by day, touching nothing, leaving no trace. Then he bought tools from a workshop where he'd once gotten home repair gear, gloves, a cheap work jumpsuit, a rolling plastic box like event crew gear, no weapons, those leave intentions behind. On Friday, he crafted his alibi carefully: gas station, store, gym with high-quality cameras. He scanned in, made a circle, grabbed a towel, left it in the basket to guarantee presence, then drove toward Tacoma, where highway cameras tracked plates. He went where the city could see him. A turnoff to industrial zones. He stopped, changed into the jumpsuit, locked the phone in a metal container blocking signals, switched vehicles to an unregistered old van lent by mechanic friend Martin Keller, the kind of ride that disappears without a trace. He arrived an hour before event's end, parked hidden from main entrance, rolling his box. He slipped through a service door, no pass needed when someone opens for a worker with equipment. Inside, he waited silently, blending in, no search for Ethan needed. People drifted out as the night faded: smokers, calls, departures. He knew Ethan's moves now, confident, relaxed, thinking he was safe. Ethan left not alone but without security, accompanied by a young, elegant woman with perfect hair. At the side path, she stayed. Ethan ventured toward the unlit gate by the water. Jacob moved quietly, not like an assassin, but a worker who won't disturb others. The moment came fast, no theatrics. Ethan barely had time to scream. He only realized his mistake when it was too late. This world wasn't safe anymore. Jacob struck as planned: no head blows, no fatal damage. He targeted the human machine's weak points, joints and nerves. Ethan collapsed, unable to rise again. Jacob exited the same way, with his equipment box intact, van waiting at the service entrance. Returned the van in the industrial zone, changed clothes again, powered phones back on, drove to the motel where he stayed before. The night guard and cameras saw him. He logged in, held his ground, no rushed escapes, no panic, just the calm of someone tracking moves. Next morning, the news spread. The charity executive was found near the water, alive, but with breaks and injuries too severe for simple falls. The club spun a quiet story of personal tragedy. The charity masked it as unknown assailants. Police took slow steps, connections ran deep, and such cases falter. Then the unexpected. Lauren came, not hysterical, not tearful, not confessing. She appeared at the port, passing unsecured turnstiles with a stolen pass. Worse than confession, it meant she had learned how to bypass rules, always shadowed by someone opening doors for her. She approached without remorse, face pale but eyes void of regret. A fear not for their marriage but survival. Gesturing silently, she urged he flee to a place without cameras. But Jacob stood firm, positioning himself where cameras watched. She realized and retreated. An hour later, security summoned Jacob, not police, but people who ask no questions, only see problems. They showed him prints from club cameras, poor, but enough. A van with a jumpsuit, a key flaw, a wristband identical to his own, cheap everyday sports watch band worn day and night. The security guard's look said all this case could spiral. Jacob realized someone was working against him now. Returning home, he found Lauren packed half her things, rushed, uneven, not a permanent departure but urgent as a getaway. A white envelope lay on the table. He plugged in the flash drive from the envelope. First, normal footage. Then the entrance to their building, him arriving. A shadow following before the door closed. Next, bedroom footage from a hidden camera. Lauren, the man, the bed, and, nearly invisible, another presence. Someone recording the scene, writing notes. Jacob paused on the observer's face, a face he'd seen countless times. It was Martin Keller, the mechanic who lent him the van. Suddenly, he understood. He had been used not out of foolishness, but for misplaced trust in a dirty man. Jacob began piecing a new chain, no longer the avenger, but the accused. Martin's workshop was dark, but lights inside revealed him scrolling through news about Ethan, a greasy smile on his face. Jacob held back emotion. Every feeling here was a risk, he left to think. Expectedly, Jared found bank statements on the flash drive, transfers from Ethan's charity to Martin. Martin wasn't just a mechanic. He was the problem solver for dirty deeds, fake plates, access codes, dirty vans. Lauren was part of it, and Jacob had become their pawn. Jacob searched for Lauren, not out of love, but need. She held the key to prove he wasn't the villain. But she was gone, phone dead, card unused, no flight to Florida or Portland. She simply disappeared then. A day later, Martin vanished. 2 days afterward, Federal agents, not local police, came to his door. No talk of assaults, but investigations into the fund, money laundering, illegal transfers through the port. Why was his account active during strange midnight container moves? The net was tightening around him. Jacob grasped the real purpose. Ethan was more than a lover. He was the core of a scheme. The fund a cover, the port a channel, Lauren the bait, Martin the tool, and Jacob the convenient scapegoat. They needed someone to carry the blame, him, with motive and access. Jacob knew pleading innocence would drown him. Speaking of infidelity and revenge meant destruction. He needed a move that shattered the entire setup instantly. So he went not to those asking questions, but to the ones desperate to keep secrets hidden. He found Michael Henderson, a former port security officer who lost his job for asking too many questions, living in a trailer, moonlighting as a private investigator. Jacob brought him the flash drive, screenshots, receipts, and prints, everything needed to expose the truth. Within a day, Michael produced what Jacob needed: a map of the scheme dates, containers, front companies, and most crucially the name running it all, the port's own security chief. That was why Jacob was found so easily. They weren't looking for him. They were tracking him. The truth in hand, Jacob faced a choice: flee or strike the deepest wound. He chose the third path, pretending surrender, arriving for a second interrogation unarmed, exhausted, losing control. He shocked everyone by presenting not excuses, but solid proof. He handed over everything to an independent internal security office beyond his boss's reach. Not about the assault, but about the port, fund, money, and shady shipments. He packaged the files to warn. Any attempt to bury this would only make it roar louder. In 2 days, charity employees were arrested. 3 days later, the port's security chief was suspended. Rumors spread. Ethan Wells wasn't just a victim, but a man who took too much and shared too little. The city was shaking, the facade cracking. At this turning point, Lauren reappeared not with friends or family, but in a Vancouver hospital. Broken ribs, concussion, phones smashed deliberately to cut off contact under a false name. Hidden but alive. Someone wanted her controlled, not dead. Suicide would be too noisy. Went to her by night, no dramatic rescue, no trunk smuggling. He arranged a transfer to another clinic through official channels, creating a visible, legitimate path. He rerouted at the last second. He knew surveillance was watching, but he aimed to lure them into his trap. The trap wasn't physical, not fights or weapons, but information. He knew Martin Keller was nearby, still in the shadows. Such men never vanish completely. They wait to sell their secrets again. Jacob baited him with an account controlled by his allies, promising money for port access. Martin bit the bait, meeting at an abandoned waterfront warehouse, thinking he'd sell secrets and walk clean. Unaware the place was rigged with cameras, and quiet watchers were recording every move. Martin brought the flash drive, filming scores of people, corruption, extortion, and the scapegoat selection. The final reveal on the flash drive shocked Jacob. The full club night video showed the man in a jumpsuit breaking Ethan, and it wasn't Jacob. By stride, size, and movement, it was Martin. The plans he thought Jacob carried out were a cover for Martin's dirty work. Martin didn't act out of revenge. He stopped payment and became a danger. He eliminated the scheme's core, then blamed Jacob. Perfect setup, husband, motive, access, now trying to sell safety. But safety isn't bought from those who blackmail everyone they get erased. Martin never left that warehouse alive. Hours later, his body was found in a distant part of the city, officially an overdose, unofficially a cleanup. Jacob knew the game was far from over. The puppet master had yet to reveal his hand. That same night, Jacob returned home. A foreign car sat in the street seen before on surveillance, but always parked further away. 2 men exited, approaches his building. No weapons, but their stride said they were here to do a job. Jacob knew what was coming. They'd try to silence them both. But Jacob did the only thing left. He didn't hide or run. He switched on a live stream on his phone, hooked to an account saving to the cloud and multiple addresses. He stepped outside, casually returning home, pretending ignorance, watched by cameras and countless unseen eyes. Men saw him, stopped, realized eyes weren't his but the camera's. This was different. They retreated silently, getting back into their car and driving off. The video spread fast. Someone tried to approach, connected to a huge scandal. Questions mounted, journalists dug. The cover was blown. Within a month, the fun case went federal. 2 months later, convictions began. In 3 months, port leadership changed. Jacob lost his marriage, his peace, and his illusions. Lauren recovered and testified not out of love, but fear. He kept working but became someone else, always hunting inconsistencies. 6 months later, he received a letter with no return address. Inside, a fresh photo showed Ethan Wells upright, cane in hand, standing by a warm ocean, not Seattle-esque gray shores. Ethan was alive, not broken as believed. He had staged his victimhood, escaping blame while others burned. Jacob understood the deadliest truth. Ethan orchestrated it all. He brought Lauren to gain port access, faked his own attack, framed Martin to clean up, and set Jacob as the perfect fall guy. Just when everyone thought it was over, Ethan grinned on warm shores, free and dangerous. The most dangerous part wasn't that night by the water. It was what Jacob now knew: the method, the blueprint. Ethan could return, not for revenge, but because such men come back for unsettled scores, and Jacob could be next to be used as a tool. Jacob knows one thing for certain now. He will never trust silence in that apartment again. Quiet is never empty. It hides the cracks, the footsteps, the lies, and some stories don't end, they only wait for the next act. If you were Jacob, trapped in a web of betrayal and conspiracy, what would you do? Fight back, escape, or find a smarter way to survive? The line between victim and player blurs when the stakes are this high. Share your thoughts below. Story reminds us, trust is both our greatest strength and deepest vulnerability. Betrayal hides where least expected: family, friends, colleagues. The question is how and when you choose to see the cracks before they consume all. Jacob's battle wasn't just fists, it was data, timing, and patience. Power lies in knowledge and the ability to make others reveal their vulnerabilities. Sometimes, the quietest moves shake the strongest empires. In the game of shadows, no one holds all cards forever. Allies become enemies, truth becomes weapon in this story. Jacob lost more than love, he lost the illusion of control. Yet, he gained something scarier: a deep understanding of the game. Justice in a corrupt world is a twisted path, shaped as much by silence as by truth. Jacob's story shows how fragile honest lives can be and how relentless one must be to see light beyond the shadows. Behind every closed door lies a secret, a story waiting to unravel. Will you dare to peek? Will you trust what you find? Jacob's journey is a warning and a challenge. What will you believe when the illusions fall?